Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? We're gonna continue with our Endgame book reading today. Hopefully, we're gonna push until the end. I opened the wrong book. Is it? No, okay, gotcha. Okay. Hello, guys. How's it going? The music today was pretty good, I have to admit. Um, just a quick reminder, if you didn't register for TTS, you still have about 1 week and 2 days actually. So just be mindful that the registration period this time is very, very short. It got fixed? Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. That's French, so all right. Was there something wrong? This is the music. Unless, yeah, as I said, as I said on Discord, my monitor is a little bit weird today, so some weird pixels might appear. I don't know exactly why. It's probably connected to the fact that we've opened the computer completely, removing the motherboard last week. Also, yeah, I just noticed that my camera is off as well. As you see, everything got broken. Uh, everything. Everything. The camera, yeah, anything that's graphical related basically got broken. Good morning, Gohenra. Oh, you couldn't see me. Hmm? Hmm. 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 Now you see me in many angles. All right. We shall continue with the book. As you guys remember, probably last week we've done some examples. We didn't finish the chapter, so today we're gonna continue with that. The chapter name was the Rose to Tsumero, which is checkmate threat. Road to mate, basically, but it basically indicates that we're learning how to make checkmate threat. We talked about the killer piece because instead of calculating, you prefer to think about win conditions. That makes it kind of easier. Then we had this weird thing to translate, which I'm not sure if we did translate in the end. Condition for KP. Well, basically what it was be able to check was very important in this chapter. So let's go with that. Then we had a little bit of everything. So we had the lure technique. And this will be the example we're going to start today. We're going to finish this. And then we have like one more summary chapter, I believe, and additional chapter that will be more about how to turn around the game. Caro can go anywhere, yes. Turns out the different Shogi web pages have different layouts and you need a different camera setup for each of those pages. So this is clearly 81 Dojo because then you have this avatar underneath. This is Play Shogi. And this one, I don't even remember what it was. Maybe Lee Shogi? Yeah, like every Shogi page needed its own setup. Hello, Pinoik. All right, let's start. Last we did, what was it? Conditions, yeah, being able to check. So we have this another very, very complicated example, I assume, because we have two computers playing, burning bridges and dear Shogi. Notice how they always write the computer names in Romaji that we can actually read. It would be useful for many professional names as well, but okay. On diagram 24, the opponent just pushed this pawn. Our king seems to be surviving yet. But the problem is they have many ways to create a check, right? They can drop the silver here, they can promote here. That's not many book. That's okay. But basically we are not completely safe. In this position, it is difficult to choose whenever we attack or defend. Difficult. Okay, and here Sente will brilliantly write a scenario towards the winning road or something like this. So let's see. We have bishop, knight, and 4 pawns. They have a silver. We have a silver here that's actually hanging. The knight, though, looks like a very active piece together with this rook. This horse perhaps is holding this silver hostage as well, indirectly protecting this knight. Anything else? Well, the lance doesn't really help us that far. So what would we do in this situation? Let's think about it. So the book unfortunately spoils us the answer right away. But yeah, the logic is we need something more than the bishop drop, I assume, because bishop drop means, the king escapes and we don't have a follow-up. The pawns looks better because, as they say, next you're gonna drop the bishop, which actually threatens a checkmate, right? So it's like 2-step to mate. But yeah, okay, instead of that, the problem is that our king will be probably chased around, yeah? Oh, but no, this is completely different. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is kind of silly what they're saying. They're saying like, oh, Santa predicted everything that's happening from now on. And Gote is attacking very heavily this king. So I know it's two computers playing. It's not a very good warm-up problem. It's a difficult one. But pawn drop was followed up by silver takes the knight, silver takes, silver takes. And now that the silver isn't protecting this square anymore, they drop the knight that just got here, which is a check. The king ran down, and then they retook the silver. So notice they have 2 silvers and they have a knight on the board in those few moves. But here, instead of going for our attack, which would be scary because they have, attack in front of our king, we drop this knight, which is the point here. So the point this problem is doing is that free pawn is our setup, I guess. The condition, the ability to check type of move. I would translate it as adding a little bit of spice. So we add a little bit of taste to the situation and then we leave it as it is because it's gonna slowly get better, right? There should be better translation for that. And now we're defending right after we do that, yeah? So it may seem like Santa is slowing down, but that's a not. This is the absorption technique. I'm still not sure if I'm writing this word properly. Anyway, the absorption technique, the preparation for that. As you guys remember, the absorption technique was kind of connected with the killer piece. Absorption technique was when we force them to attack and then we eat up some pieces, which leads them to be the killer piece, right? So in this case, I don't see exactly how we're forcing them to make a move yet, but we're gonna find out soon. Well, technically, free pawn itself brings up pressure, so that's a different type of pressure, yeah? Previously, we had the pressure on the attacking pieces of the enemy. So they have to attack because they would be lost. But here it's a different type of pressure. Here's the pressure on the king, so this is the time pressure, I guess. Absorption. P. Okay. Is it? Absorption? No, wait. I'm confused now. I'm Googling this stuff. I'm Googling. Yeah, it's with P. Absorbieren. Yeah, okay. I tell you, I understand what's the problem. I will explain. Why caps lock? So, no, I was wrong. Okay. For some reason, my brain also in Polish thought that it's with B. But apparently only B exists is in German. So I guess I'm German at soul. I don't know. Um, but yes, it's with P apparently. So thank you. So finally, the whole stream last week I had feeling I'm doing something wrong. All right. So the knight move actually has a sinister, it seems, target. One which is a silver drop here, one which is a bishop drop here. And I don't necessarily know exactly what's the significance of those two moves, but those two moves put a pressure on the enemy. And therefore, we're not necessarily like defending 100%. We are waiting for the next move to come. As a continuation, they're gonna drop the silver, knight takes, gold takes from the left. They drop again the knight. But what's the difference, guy, between the previous position and this position? This position, when they have two silvers in hand, and this position, when they, oh, wait, they just gave us the second silver. So we absorbed a silver, right? Therefore, our power became stronger, and instead of defending here, we will go more aggressively pound promotion. All right, if they were to escape here, we have, this is the zeta, but we drop the bishop. We force them to drop a piece. So this would be huge for us. This king would be safer as a result. Although I personally don't know how is it surviving necessarily. Oh, I see. If they don't have a silver. Yeah. Okay. If they have a silver, it is mate. If they don't, it's not. Yeah, easy. Go to Yosaki. Okay. So this position is very difficult, but basically, after this move, we were able to capture the king. Oh god, this whole variation. So king took the token, bishop drop, king runs up, we took the gold, king took the gold, we took the knight, king ran away, we took the silver, dragon took this silver, okay. Dragon 3-2, 3 silver drop, and knight drop. Yeah, no, we're not doing the trivial homework, whatever, I hate those. So let's say a bunch of first move happened, yeah, because this is check, check, check. What was the move after that? A 3-4, okay. 3-4. So it was like tick, 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 check, silver. So it's all check, it's all force. And magically we arrive at this position, which has the king on 3-4 square. We eat this knight, we ate the silver with the horse. We gave them 2 bishops, but we also forced the dragon out of our camp. And here we continue with checks, knight drop. And this knight drop apparently leads to a winning situation. If the king goes here, we drop another knight. Because we have only 1 in hand, but we had 2, okay. And the knight drop here apparently allows us to take this dragon because they will have to sacrifice it somewhat. And I also cannot tell you guys exactly why. Basically, if they run, I think it leads to Atsume because we have 3 silvers. Yeah, okay. So night drop, if the king runs, it would lead to Atsume, so dragon takes, and then we win because we took away the dragon. Yeah, so again, the idea of the book is to not like overwhelm you with, look, this is his cool position and this is what you do exactly, and then you win. It's more like to present to you an condition or a technique that you can use in your games. But this particular game, on top of that, is interesting um, because this and this way it leads to a win. Yeah, but the technique we're learning is the absorption with a P technique. There's a lot of PP in this whole book. Absorption in the whole book is in the absorption technique, and then we also learn, like here I would assume the lure technique also applies because 4/5 dragon was chased away, right? But anyway, let me finish. If the king goes here, knight drop again, king stakes, silver drop, we come to me. All right. So what did we learn? We learned about the how do we translate that word? The condition, the spice. I will call it. I don't care. I'm gonna call it spice. Spice condition, and then absorption with a P. Together, they become a combo. And here, as we said, either they give us the dragon or their king is checkmated. Therefore, the choices they have to do, or the benefit we have to do, is we take pieces or get a checkmate or checkmate the king. Yeah. So it seems like they have a choice, but none of them is good. Yeah. So why did it happen? Again, we absorbed the enemy knight and a silver, right? I guess we did. I guess we. Let me look again. We didn't absorb the knight. We absorbed the silver for sure. We had the knight to begin with, and we absorbed a silver, and that silver allowed us to have checkmate in this situation. So by defending that one move and forcing them to give us a silver, we made it easier for us to win, right? Oh no, this is why I'm not learning Portuguese. Thank you, Mr. Guino, okay, for the follow. I wish there were Tsume books in English. There are. So the thing about Tsume books is you don't need English for that. The problem is with books like this that contains a lot of theory that cannot be explained simply by using the diagrams. I'm currently working on a beginner book. And once I do that, once I figure out how to write a good book, I can always write more. So then we can think about more English books. But yeah, currently we have like those Sabaki at a glance, Joseki at a glance, and stuff. There's one French book that has Tsume using international pieces, but I don't think that we necessarily have English shogi book. That's an interesting point. English Tsume shogi book. Uh, well, when you learn shogi, you learn how the pieces work. So, for example, you have the king, and then you learn, yeah. You know what? You're right. I shouldn't make excuses. I mean, what I'm saying is like, oh, we shogi players, we learn how to read this notation, and it should be easy for you to read Japanese books. But why? Why? Nobody has a book about it, and new players won't know about it, and they will be like, where do I find resources? Yeah. There's actually this one Sume PDF, I think, very old, with all the Sume problems, in English with Western notation. There are web pages which allows you to solve Tsume Shogi without knowledge of notation at all, like Lee Shogi or playshogi.com. So you don't necessarily need those. But yeah, if we talk books, I cannot remember of any book in English that would contain Tsume Shogi specifically. Many people tried that story and then they end up with weird perverted translations, because apparently king translates to balls and sume translates to, yeah, it sounds weird basically. Let's say checkmating the king is the last thing that the translator will give you. uh, okay, let's continue. Oh, we finished this example. This was the last one, the most difficult one. I'm glad we left it for this week because, all right, so what did we learn in this particular chapter? How to get killer piece. As you guys know, killer piece is the piece you need for the win. Yeah, it's not context sensitive. And then first you set up condition, or as I translated, set up spice or spice it up, yeah. And then KP appears, yeah. And then you get it. It makes it sound so simple, but okay, what does it mean? It's the iron kaniste. I never knew what those mean. Summarize or how, in what way, KP o dasero noga. Dasero, not dasero, it's she. So again, appearance is the key. Okay, so making KP appear is the key point, I guess. So by creating the condition, you kind of force it to appear, if it makes sense. So the previous example, we needed a silver, but because of the pound drop, we needed a silver. So first we set up that position. We realized, oh, we need this piece. Our enemy had only this piece in hand. Therefore, we kind of forced them to give it to us, yeah? Give it to us. Yeah, having specific software to just translate shogi terms sounds fun. And then they throw at you baseball idiomatic expressions in the middle of shogi text, and it really talks about balls, but you translate it to the king and it's confusing again. But yeah, languages. Okay, when you enter the endgame, you don't think anymore about the material. In the endgame, speed is more than material. It's more important than material is the famous proverb. You have to, okay, it's repetitive when I say speed is so the speed is very, very important because they use speed in English and then they use speed as in Japanese. So it's less repetitive okay, anyway, language. Anyway, according to the proverb, as you can see, the speed is very, very important factor in endgame. One more thing is the killer piece, KP, the existence of that piece. The killer piece, if you have it in your hand, you will be able to capture enemy king. If the killer piece is part of the enemy plan to approach your king, it is a perfect chance for us to think about how to get that piece. especially if enemy attacking piece among enemies attacking pieces is the K piece, killer piece. There is sometimes this moment where by defending a little bit, you actually will gain more attacking power. So yeah, he would like you to notice that fact, yeah? So those are two things. So speed over material. That's in endgame, yeah, in endgame. Here we say, yeah, basically find KP, this win condition. Try to get it. If it is attacking piece, by defending, you might get it. Yeah, anyway. I'm just leaving it for myself to not get lost later, but basically, yeah. Sometimes defending means that you can counterattack strongly. So, of course, the enemy king needs to stay in risky situation. Go away, fly. Keep enemy king in danger. So KP can appear. Yeah, because there is no killer piece if there is no opportunity to finish off the enemy king, right? If he's totally safe, having that piece in hand won't matter. So yeah, you need to remember about the spice condition, yeah? Spice up the enemy position so that killer piece is effective. Yeah, tricking the opponent's pieces, tricking your opponent into dropping the pieces you want to use, that sounds correct, but as you guys can imagine, it's really hard to do in practice. Like, you cannot really force them to do it. You have to be tricky about it. Okay, so here we have absorption. And here benefit. The condition of Hakko moving, of when it appears, I guess. No, Hatsudo. I'm stupid. Okay, putting into operation. I mean, I know what those kanji mean. It's just I cannot read them properly. Requirement. That's a better translation. So requirement operation. That sounds good. That sounds bad if you say invocation. Okay. Okay, condition to work. Let's make it simpler. So you need the spice. Yeah, you need to have the king in the danger. Benefit. Power up. Attack while defending. So as we said, you defend, but actually you gain more power because they cannot use certain pieces. Or if they do, you have that power actually in your hand. So using enemies attack against them, basically. The more they attack, the more pieces you get, the more in danger the king will be. Again, the spice, if you use it well, you can make your own king into safety, I guess. Yeah, as we said, they cannot use certain pieces. I don't know, guys, but now that I use spice, the word spice for it, I'm thinking of those dune worms. Dune worms. It's a weird jumping worm, but be more straight, I guess. Jumping worm in the dune, and there's sand, and there's a worm, and it tries to eat helicopter. I cannot draw a helicopter. Here, a helicopter. Shogi curry, yes. The spice must flow, yes. It feels like tricking your opponent into dropping the pieces you want to use. I read that already. Yeah, okay. So if they don't drop it, our king becomes safer, yeah? Slash this on the... So once more, you can use the absorption technique according to the same condition. In Shogi, when you go for the approach on the king, it happens that the attacking pieces amount is not enough. That you don't have enough attacking pieces. It happens, yeah, often. So in this moment, how to get more pieces is very, very important. But okay, so this is about absorption as well, I think. I mean, everything is about absorption. Anyway. Conflict commitment to the stance, defense, protection, neglectful. Okay. So we start by saying not enough attacking pieces. I'm pretty sure that you guys were in this situation, or we all are it all the time, right? We are like, oh, what? Not enough pieces. Yeah, what do we do? So get more. But how do we? If we get more in silly way, we become neglectful of the defense. Yeah. And the solution of this problem that we go for the attack, but we forgot about the defense is the absorption technique. Which, as you know, gonna give us more pieces while defending. So the only minus of this technique is that we give away the turn to the enemy, right? Giving away. So it's important that we use the spice technique to be ready for that attack. And if we don't have that spice, we shouldn't defend, right? I hope you guys understand. If we don't have a counter attack or the spice, we cannot really defend because they will just do whatever they want. But once we have that hidden threat behind their back, we can trick them into giving us more pieces. And therefore we absorb them and use for our own benefit. Usually if I have enough pieces, it's because I can drop anything. And I'm about to lose. That's because you didn't set up spice, Suwako. That's the point. We have to make sure that you have a way to check the enemy king, to checkmate them if you have a lot of pieces, Um, so that would indicate you made some mistake in early endgame, right? That he approached your king faster than you did. That he approached your king faster than we did approach his. That they perhaps they made pivotal piece quicker, or they had more pivotal pieces, or they exposed some weakness of your castle. That's what we learned from this book earlier, right? No, 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 no. I mean, we're trying to get the logic behind it, right? Sometimes the reason why you ended up in this position is because of something you did before. But maybe you forgot to spice up the position. Maybe you underestimated their attack and they just came did what they want. Just make sure you always, always, always have a way to threaten them back. So if they have a knife on your throat, make sure you have a gun to their temple. Okay? Make sure there is a threat both ways so that it's a good fight. That's what a good fight is in Shogi, right? Like both sides have to be really careful to not overdo it, else they're gonna lose. Anyway, that would be a perfect game of Shogi. No game of Shogi is perfect anyway. So anyway, this is the theoretical best Shogi outcome, yeah. But then we follow the cutter. Yes. Sabi Sabi Dokin, yes. Okay, so we learned about how to choose the move, right? In difficult situation. How to decide. What should I do? This. Okay. So this is attack. This is defense. And this instead of this dot dot dot. And here we have multi-purpose move. Okay, a multi-purpose or singular purpose. Basically, the Japanese they say the level of the usage of that move is high or low, but so far we translate it is as a multi-purpose move and not multi-purpose moves. But basically, if this move has much purpose than this move, you should choose that one, yeah? How many techniques exactly in Shogi theory? Sometimes I read a book and I find some very weird technique that I cannot remember the name. Do you mean like tactics, perhaps? Like chop drop silver or I don't know what else. Do you mean those? Yeah, it depends on the author as well. The theory tends to change. But the thing about Endgame is that Endgame is the easiest technically. Okay, guys. Technically, Endgame is like the simplest of the phases of Shogi because there's logic to it, right? Because you have to get to the king and you have to be the first one. And it's very clear condition. Unlike opening, which has should I put my king safety first or should I create an attacking shape? Or if I attack here, blah 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 blah. There's not a clear condition. Same in the middle game. Do I go for material? Blah blah blah. I mean middle game. Material or piece activity and so on. But endgame is quite decided. So um those theories should be working in many situations. But yes, of course, every author we have a different uh, approach. Yeah. And it's not like shogi is a scientific thing. So I imagine it's the same in chess. For example, I have this book by uh, Sato Amahiko, and he divides the middle game into three parts. So nobody talked about this unless it's in this book. Middle game is divided into three parts: the opening of middle game, middle game, middle game, and middle game end game. So it's not a theory, it's just theory of this author, yeah? It's just how he thinks about shogi game. And then he gives you a bunch of theory or proverbs that you can guide yourself through those. Yeah, it's not scientific, many theory. I mean, theory is a theory, right? It's not confirmed or anything. Anyway, there are many shogi theories, yes. The same way, and many people have their own ideas. As many people there are many shogi theories. But of course, the best one would be the Fuji. His theory is the best, naturally, because he keeps winning. Charging. A move. Purposeness. I'm not sure if that's an English word. Makes it easier. Makes it meaning the decision, yeah? Would a strong engine theory be the best? Well, the problem with the engine, it's not a theory, it's just raw calculation. That's the problem. Like this book was explaining, yeah? If you were to think as a computer, you would be very confused and it would overload your brain. Yeah, should you attack, should you defend? What should I do? I'm trying to calculate, but I cannot read deep enough. Should I defend? Oh no, I'm in Biomi. Yeah. But as Suwako mentioned, we need heuristics. We need some rules for our brain to make it easier to understand. And this is what this book is basically showing you. There are this many examples. There are this many problems you can face. But we're humans. Here, have a rule. Follow this, and you will be fine. Yeah. So here, instead of sometimes we cannot calculate should we attack or defend. If we play a kobo, it's gonna be the best move on the board. That's a simple rule, right? If it's a multi-purpose move, there is a high possibility that it's a good move because it does both of those things at the same time. In the best case. Okay, so we're gonna summarize chapter 3, everything together. So it's difficult to choose whenever you should attack or defend in shogi. Of course, if you are able to calculate the end game, you will be able to see the answer, especially when, for example, our king is in 2 moves to mate situation, then the condition becomes clear, right? If we can calculate moves to mate, it is easy. The rule was if we're 1 move faster, we attack. If we're 1 move slower, we defend. That was this very simple rule. But then we had the problem that sometimes we're not able to calculate how many moves to mate that is. And this is where we had the approach of the else, so it's like else of the multipurpose move. So here, weak human, I know you cannot calculate, but there is hope for you. All you have to do is play a multipurpose move and you will be fine. That surely is the best move on the board, you know? Something like that. Yeah. So basically, maybe not the best move, but surely not the worst. So we are kind of going backward here. There is high possibility that if you play a good multi-purpose move, that it is a good move, even though you cannot calculate it all the way through. Okay, attack. Defense. Check. Prevent or defend. Uh, Making appear a combo piece. The multi-purpose move. Oh my god, what is this kanji? What is this? Chewing, digestion. Okay. Digest. See, guys, translating shogi books with shogi related terms sometimes won't be enough. Digestion. Um, when you digest the meaning of the multi-purpose move, so it will be that it's a move that has uh, many meaning. Yes, a multi-purpose meaning is that it's a move with many meanings. It's very redundant. Okay. Uh, this is why we translate it to multi-purpose. It makes it easier for our English ear to understand instead of a move with high level of multi-purposeness or something. No, it's just multi-purpose move. Okay. As a example, please look at page 24-27. Not page, diagram. Okay, guys, we're gonna try to do it. 24-27. 24-27. 24. And we had this. Okay, that's the example we just did. Okay, that's the example we just did. All the pieces were everything there was semi kobote or shooting the kobo move or targeting the kobo piece. I mean, technically, killer piece is a kobo piece, so in a way, but should we confirm that? What was the kobo piece? I guess the knight was a kobo piece. Is it the knight was the kobo piece? This guy. So, which of this was kobo? This is definitely attacking piece. We definitely in a way targeted this dragon. They're not making it easy on me for me to explain it. So this piece was defensive piece and became active as well. I'm not convinced by this example. Anyway, apparently all of those are attacking defensive pieces. Create kobo or target kobo. What's the rule? Oh, kobo itself is a multi-purpose move, but also if we target that kobo, we destroy their multi-purposeness, which is a great move as well. Also, we have this technique that we talked about, which is to create kobo using checks. It's a very important point. The check is a very powerful tool because check doesn't give opponent a chance to react, right? Reaction time, let's say. Because either you move your king or you defend or you lose, right? So any other move on the board cannot happen. And therefore you dictate the tempo of the game. And of course, if you're able to do check, which is an attacking move, force them to defend and create a attacking defensive move by this check for yourself at the same time, that would be great. Of course, there's the proverb check to check is to chase, but you don't have to worry about this in this situation. Okay. This is interesting. This is endgame piece value. So the most valuable, it seems to be the killer piece. Then you have the kobo piece. Then you have the pivotal piece. And default piece advantage or disadvantage. So there are many pieces that are important in endgame or in general. For example, we just talked about the kobo piece. That piece, suddenly their value becomes even higher. Other than that, in chapter 1, we talked about the pivotal piece. This is, of course, another piece we cannot forget about is the killer piece. Yeah, killer piece is definitely important because it connects with the idea of checkmating the enemy king. And as we spice up the enemy king, we create a condition for the K piece to come by, and becomes a really important finisher. Yeah. So yeah, just be mindful that in endgame, material advantage or disadvantage suddenly doesn't matter anymore, and the speed is all that matters. Yeah, it's very unnatural. Like the whole middle game, we are like, how do I not lose my rook? Suddenly, when you enter endgame, it's like, how do I just get that guy over there on the other side of the board? Yeah. All right. So pieces that have a bigger value than normal pieces, then of course will be those three: pivotal piece, kobo, and KP. This is what we have to remember here. Yeah. So this is what we learned. Okay. Reduction of the battlefield. So now this is what we had before. We had the pivotal piece creation. This was like literally, I don't know, months ago, half year ago. I don't know when we started this book, but this was so far ago. Breaking the castle, surrounding the king, and checkmate, right? And then we had these shortcuts. This all This is all shortcut, yeah? We can omit breaking the castle if you drag the king out of the castle. We can omit breaking the castle if we have this bishop diagonal combo on the Mino, for example, yeah? Those were our shortcuts. But pivotal piece is important. You have to have that bishop on 5-5 for it to work, right? So then we have this huge shortcut over here as well, it seems. This is the spice, this is the absorption. It really, 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 really speeds us up, apparently. So think of it of spice as a pivotal piece and absorption of the piece that you need for checkmate, yeah? So this is all that we talked about today, about creating spice and absorption. I don't want to repeat it. So it's important to notice that this is a huge shortcut in our diagram. And it brings us much, much closer to the goal much faster. The combo of the spice and absorption is huge. Yeah, defending while attacking, basically, yeah. Or attack while defending. Attack by defending. Doesn't it sound cool? It does, right? It's the highest technique, apparently. All right, guys. We arrived at the very last chapter here. Spice absorption. Suddenly it sounds like very appropriate thing. So we will have an additional chapter that I wanted to take a look at. So it's like an appendix. And it says table turning, understanding of the table turning. So of table, let's call it patterns, yeah. So let's see exactly what it's gonna be. As you see, there's only this many examples. It's actually many. There's actually many. But there is this cool diagram at the end, and we will try to get there at the very end. And as you see, we are in the scrollable reach of the end right now. The last, very, very last subchapter. All right. So he will want to explain how is it to play to target the turning around point, kinda. We're gonna see a play that targets that turn around situation. So the turning point basically means that we are bad, like worse off, but turning point requires enemy to make a mistake. It's kind of a trick, basically. And in order to do so, we create a situation that it is easy to make a mistake. Okay. Something is the key point for that. For example, impatience or the worry or anxiety. So we will provoke that in our enemy in a way. That's so psychological. Okay. So this word in particular, this is impatience. Let's translate to worry because it's shorter word. So invoking those will be like very important. So he's talking about the time pressure. If we have more pressure than the enemy, I guess we can force them to make a mistake. But that's I think what he says is this is not what he's gonna talk about. This is the bangai, which is techniques around the board. But he will be talking about some different type of techniques. And it will be how to make the position complex, how to complicate the position. I don't know if you guys heard, it is said that in shogi, if you're winning, you should create clear position. If you're losing, you have to complicate it. Probably heard about this proverb. So now we're gonna see some practical examples of how to do it exactly. So number one will be the rule number one is to remove the line or the square or the shogi line. I don't know which has he in mind. So we're gonna see. So he's saying in order, oh my gosh, in order to avoid clarity, avoid, yeah, let's make it different. Avoid clearly losing line, I guess. Clearly losing lines. So that means, and that suji is probably that word line in that case. So I guess it's like avoid the main line. Don't let it fall into what opponent is reading. Suji is, okay, they're explaining what suji is. Suji is basically technique that allows the attack to come true. It's gonna be similar to what we've did in 1 to 3. I don't know what's 1 to 3. Yeah. So for example, we have diagram 2. Enemy dropped or pushed pawn onto 5. And if we were to take it, they're gonna drop the lance, right? Or a pawn. No, just the lance. If we were to escape early, there is a lance drop here, apparently. Okay, so first things, this dragon is here attacking the god. Together, attack on this side will be very heart on our king. If uh, we take, they drop the lance, king goes here, and this checkmates our king in the next move, right? So if we're to escape early, you would think, oh, they're gonna push the pawn, but no, they're gonna drop the lance here. It kind of speeds up their attack. Also leading to a checkmate in a way, or like a endgame situation. I mean, technically we can take this go too, to make it simpler. So instead, yeah, they're saying the lance and the dragon. I guess we start with this position. They're saying if we drop a pawn, they drop a pawn. And it leads to what we've talked about. So in this situation, this is a very difficult example again. But basically, in this situation, if we drop a pawn, they drop a pawn. If we drop a pawn here, we're trying to be smart, they're gonna drop a lance, take the pawn, and drop the pawn in front of our king, leading to this situation. And this situation will lead to a checkmate soon. King takes, pawn drop, and then we take the gold, drop the gold. Silver takes, of course, the gold falls on the bottom. So all this will be the Suji pattern for the enemy attack. And now we have to avoid it. So easy to understand. We don't want to make it easy on them, right? So instead, we're gonna drop the knight to 1-8. And if they were to drop the lance, we drop the pawn. No, sorry, not the lance, sorry. If they, in this position, they were to drop the pawn, we take it, they drop the lance, then we drop another knight. And seemingly, we are not falling very easily here. We have enough defenders. Center doesn't mean that center is better in this position, but the king head attack is gone, yeah? So the fight continues, kind of. This is very irregular defending style, but there is no need to be afraid of enemy focused attack at the top of your head, of the king's head. This is the end diagram. So this is one example of the idea of avoiding the main line, kind of. And often when you read some shogi blogs or something, you will have those two kanji. And those two kanji are exactly translated to patience or endurance. you will see. So basically, it means that one side is worse off, but instead of everything crumbling, they continue to endure the situation by making it harder on the enemy. And we make it harder by enemy by avoiding the main line. Okay, so this is the example. And therefore, it is harder to see clear win. Demon creature. It's demonic move, it says, but making it crazy complex. In this position, pawn 1-6, pawn takes, dragon takes, lance takes 1-6. But finding that lance takes 1-6 is super difficult. But compared to the previous two diagrams, it's much more complex, right? Still winning for Gote, but much harder to find. That's the point here. We're trying to trick them into making a mistake, right? All right, diagram 6. Let's see. Yeah, 6. We need the same way of thinking here. If the girl takes the pawn, this would be natural, but then knight drop 8-5 would be very difficult. All right, so yeah, enemy has gold, silver, 2 knights. We have 2 rooks and 1 silver, 1 pawn. Their king is far away. Suwako, maybe this is like one of those positions that you mentioned when you have pieces in hand, but your king is in tough situation. Look what we can do here, yeah? So once more, if the endgame is clear, the enemy is unlikely to make a mistake. How do we make it more complex? Again, avoiding the main line. Rook drop 6-5. This line creates an escaping route. Create escaping route by deleting the knight drop 8-5. The gold is taken for free, but pawn takes, king takes. The king movement will become bigger, right? Because we're leaving the edge. And this is not 100% bad thing to happen. So again, what we're targeting is our perfect defense, which should be escape route, run, and Yugyoku. Yugyoku, as we know, is the iron defense. So this fact will cause enemies' impatience and therefore invite a miss, a blunder. Yeah, possibly. So for example, if they were to drop a gold here, we drop a silver here, and then take off this gold using a check. So this situation is not simple at all. And that's the whole point here, yeah? We force them to think about it. All right, next rule that we will have to make them think about many things, I guess. Force them to think about more. Kangeru component, making more, yeah. Force them to think more. Or to calculate, I guess. So if they have more things to think about, the position becomes complex as a result, right? Please look at diagram 8 and 9. Gold in both situations, center is 1 gold behind. And in both cases, center is bad, like losing. So this is clearly losing situation. This feels like an extra step, then make a smaller step before that. It's fine. But now we have something to look forward to. Of course, yes. Before we get better, we need to do things. But doing things is what makes us better. Doesn't matter how we do it. Okay, so we have this situation and they have full boat castle. We have a dragon, but it's blocked. We have a rook in hand, silver and knight. But those are silver is part of our castle that's gone. This gold is off. This silver is behind the lands. Like the king is clearly worse off compared to the boat castle, right? And they just played the silver. If we take it, they create this huge horse. If they drop a silver, sorry, in this position. I guess there's a knight drop somewhere after silver drop. Yeah, so probably silver drop is knight drop, and this is undefendable. So center cannot win. Yeah, but okay, they give the same diagram here. Hmm? This is like different diagram, right? I guess we have to compare those two. Yeah, we have to compare. Okay, let's compare it. So this is the diagram A, right, of diagram 8. This is the situation, as we described. Now diagram 9, we have also go down. And yeah, this is our gold actually. The difference is we have this knight here around the enemy king. And we have a rook, bishop, silver, knight, right? So it means that in this situation, we can play rook drop or silver drop or knight drop. So in diagram 9, we have higher chance for the gyakuten, for the turning table move. So we talked about this before, but we called it one-sided endgame. If we allow them to create this situation where we have no way of counterattacking, this is called one-sided endgame, and no matter how weak or strong your opponent will be, they will know to keep attacking, right? They will just know because it's one-sided. In this case, it's not as clear because there's many things we have to think about. So because this move isn't checkmate yet, this creates some space for us to uh, like juggle this position. We have like we can start making them worried by dropping the rook and so on. Yeah. So this is the situation we want to lead to if we want to turn it around. So to invite enemy's bad move, we want to force them to think both about defense and attack. And that defense. That reminds you of something, right? This is very similar to spice that we talked about. Stretch. Okay. For example, in diagram 10, this one, we're trying to add some spice. Pawn drop lance takes knight drop. If they drop a lance, we just exchange and drop pawn behind the lance. And this situation will make it easier to check. Yeah, so lost material. King safety difference. But still targeting tricky moves to turn around the game, yeah? In this case, it makes them wonder about the choice, right? Attack or defend? Defense. Which one are we gonna choose in this situation? Therefore, they are thinking more. Therefore, more chance to miss. Make a miss. Yeah. And this way, using the spice technique, we create pressure on the enemy. And this could lead to a turning around the game. Could be a factor that allows it. If they were to take the pawn, by the way, there's a gold drop, 7-1. If you were to leave it, silver drop is something you might worry about. The correct answer was no. Knight drop, also what it did for us, they forced the lance drop here, which deleted this line attack on our king, which is nice. All right. So those examples weren't too complex. They simply showed us a position and they are like, this is why I'm playing those moves. They're not 100% working, but this creates this type of pressure. Therefore, perhaps even though I'm losing, it might give me a chance, yeah? So, examples from the computers. In this, center is worse off. Why? Because we do have piece advantage, but king is in check, king is unsafe. This is a trouble. God that has many pivotal pieces, we have 0. But we will be targeting the turnaround move from here. First of all, we have to decide where to run the king. If the king were to run here, pawn drop, go down, pawn drop, will lead to this situation, and Sente has no way to turn it around anymore. Now you would discuss that going away from the enemy attacking pieces is how we keep our king safe. But because we put the king on the backside, on the last row, there's actually many ways to surround that king, so it makes it kind of easier to checkmate him as a result as well. And therefore it's easier for the opponent to win this game. So we want to do something about it. This will lead, taking will lead to a mate, it seems. Rook drop here. Pawn drop, bishop promotion, king takes. Yeah, it leads to like undefendable situation. So in diagram 12, instead of running down, look at it, we run up. And this way we avoided the main line. How amazing is that? Of course, this silver existing here continues to put pressure on our king. It's dangerous. But we are also threatening a pawn drop on our own. So even though it's like one-sided endgame, which is, by the way, Ose. If you guys remember Judoka Ose. We are avoiding that by eliminating enemy piece. Yeah, so using Judoka Ose techniques, we're trying to avoid one person endgame. So yeah, it's important to not put your king on the bottom row in this case. So it's gonna be very complex because those are two computers playing. But they made a miss. Abandon our hope and surrender to the machine overload. Yeah. Yeah, but the machine also made a mistake. Hey, that's where we're going. Machine dropped the pawn here. The gold went back. They dropped the pawn here. The gold went up. Silver took the rook. This gold took it, and then they dropped the rook. But what we're talking about next is this pawn. Because this pawn was dropped, this pawn here is not possible anymore because of Nifu rule, right? And that's gonna be a point apparently. Because in this situation, knight drop was possible. So clearly, let me sit. I mean, this is check. Sorry, this is checkmate. So knight is necessary, defending the checkmate threat. Pawn drop wasn't working, by the way, for some complex reason, but if they were to promote here, we're gonna drop the rook here, which is gonna be attacking defensive move. And as we know, those are the most scary. So instead of promoting the bishop, they took the lance. Taking the bishop is a mistake because then they can take the 7-1 square, which is the pivotal square for us, critical square. It's pretty epic. In this case, Gote would be winning. So in this case, one-sided endgame continues, yeah? Instead of taking the bishop, we should drop another knight. To here. Silver takes rook drop. This will become a fighting move. We completely ignore this bishop. So again, avoiding the main line, right? Line and rook 7-1 is the spice. And of course, this rook drop threatens a bishop drop 4-1. Bishop drop 4-1, we still can retake this silver to get more pieces. And of course, to take this bishop, we now have two options, rook takes or king takes. So again, more to think about, yeah? We made it so much complex by adding this move, and this move, and this move, and this move. Like suddenly it's not easy at all. Therefore, easier to miss again, yeah? So if the bishop come here, maybe that would still mean something, but the bishop promoted, which led to this situation, bishop drop king runs pawn takes. And this is where it turned around, reversal happened. So this king became unsafe. Our king has a little bit more space upward. And let's look at this position again, guys. This so much one-sided position turned into this. The king is off toward this side, escaping. This king is unsafe as well. How much more comfortable this position is, right? It's magic that just happened. A computer made a mistake, yeah? One would say it overheated itself and it's burning. Anyway, so the point, of course, was the 7-1 rook. Now, if they were to drop the lance, we drop the pawn. They promote the pawn to 8-8. This is when we drop the silver, and it's decisive. We cannot take it because it leads to Tsume. The king will run to the side, and this is where we use our favorite technique of checkmating the king using checkmate, king 6-6. So it's not, this move is particularly cool because it avoids checkmate by creating checkmate threat as well. And Sente became the winner here. This is crazy. So if you just use those two techniques, avoiding the main line and forcing your opponent to think a lot, you might be able to find a way to turn around the game by forcing them to, inviting them to make a mistake. So yeah, it's kind of a technique that you can kind of use to trick your opponent. So of course here silver drop, king run, silver rock, gold takes, pawn takes, gold drop will, no, pawn push, sorry, not silver. Pawn push, pawn push? Wait, I'm simplifying it. No, it's a silver. Will it dominate? So let's say gold takes, it goes here. We have a knight, so knight drop, gold drop should, our gold move should be enough. Or the gold sack, both work. And yeah, center one. Oh, was it all? Is it the last page? Was this example so enjoyable that I didn't notice that we done all the examples? Oh my. Starting to feel it to me fun. So now you start to understand? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Factors to of reversal. What's the translation of those again? Waking up, pulling out, inducing. Okay. Factors to, I don't know, invoke reversal. It doesn't matter. So this is the complicated position that we talked about. This is achieved by giving enemy more choices to think about, giving enemy more choices. And avoiding mainline. And then we have stuff on the bottom. And there's a lot of them. Yeah, so it's not something you can target. It is something you use when you need it. Yeah, when you're a little bit worse off, the reversal technique. It's very difficult. But the most basic thing is you make the situation more complex. Make it more messy, some would say. So avoid the main line, force the enemy to think more. Are those like tactics you can use? If you're worse off, there is not one move that will be the correct one, of course, yeah, because you're already worse off. You need something specific to like complicate it for the enemy, like something unusual. Okay, let's translate here. So here we have avoid one-sided endgame. Here we have using spies. Here we have Okay, actually, this is the translation of this, and this is make them think more, yeah? Or ponder. Then we have avoid the main line by creating or running through the escape route. Um, demon move, something nobody predicted and it's like crazy. And something that you cannot see making them create it. So what does it mean exactly? To be familiar. Okay, so unfamiliar shape. Create, I would say, non-standard position. Shape, yeah. Because, like, if you have the king in the corner and there's a bishop, it's like easy to read it, right? Because you're so used to it. But when you had those two knights protecting the head of the knight, I never saw that shape before, for example, yeah? So yeah, even though it's not like a real technique, it's really nice to know about those, how to target for the reversal. Yeah, in case of worst situation, you can do that to fight your way through. Every time I did something unusual, it turns out to be a blunder. Yes, but in this case, as we said, those will be blunders. Those are losing moves, but they give you more chances to trick your opponent. Yeah, that's the whole point. You are already worse off in these situations. Ah, yeah. And that's the last page. I won't be translating it because I'm really bad at translating um, non-Japanese, non-shogi text. This is like the epilogue. Yeah. I only learned Japanese for shogi. Yes. That's true. Well, he just summarized what he wrote about, and he just said that those are the techniques that he thought would be useful. So once more, there are probably more ways to think about the end game. He also thanks the publisher and so on. All right, guys. How do you feel after finishing the book? Did you learn something useful? We learned about the flow of the endgame, about how to extend our king's life. We learned about the powerful moves of Kobo, the multi-purpose moves. We learned about different techniques to shortcut the path to the victory, um, and how to fight until the very end using the reversal techniques. In short words, but man, it took months. 20 weeks, isn't it? 20 weeks is like what, 5 months? Almost half a year. The book was pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Of course, knowing the theory and then applying it are two different things. But now that we are aware in our Westerners' minds that there are those techniques like air supremacy or multi-purpose moves, repairing your own castle, maybe we will be more likely to discover them in our games because we have names for them already. I just gained more things to think about and no extra time on the clock. Yeah. Whoa, I didn't think we're gonna finish it today actually. It was a really cool example at the very end. Now, of course, will be the question, what do we do next? But I'm going on vacation next week, so I'm taking a vacation, and then we can talk about this on Discord. Which, by the way, I maybe is it next week or yeah, already next week. Okay, I still have stream Saturday, Sunday. Next week I leave for a little bit. Surely this book made a lot of things in my head to like clear up as well. Like nobody taught me these things. Maybe I knew it, like subconsciously, but then giving it a name definitely makes it easier. Yeah. Yeah, so this book in Japanese version is on my Navi webpage. Let me find it for you. Yes, it will be easier if I just. It doesn't copy. Okay, Shibano strategy. Japanese doesn't turn on. Shuban. Japanese, hello? Shuban. G. Amazon book. But you can buy it on my Navi easier using your card and there is like this. Oh, it's important that when you buy it, yeah, it's all in Japanese. So when you buy it, you choose this PDF version if you want it in PDF. If you want an actual book, but I don't know if they send it PDF, you will have access immediately on your account. You just have to go to your account and download it. So basically, you put it in the cart, and then you need to have an account. I think you pay for it. Yeah, it's all in Japanese, but just click Regini system, so the black button. Then you put your address, how you pay, then you check, and then you think. And on this page, you will be able to, I think, click here, and it will show your books, if I remember correctly, somewhere here. And then you can download it on your computer and forget forever that you have to do anything with this page. Trying to check on my account, how does it work? I would need to log in. If you have any trouble, please tell us on Discord. They don't ship them. Ah, on Amazon. Okay, yeah, as I expected. So if you want to get PDF, it's gonna be the easiest way to get it. Yeah, I recommend. They also give you like database of Kifu. I don't think it matters, but so if you guys have any suggestion for the next book, I hope we can discuss about this on the Discord, as the link is given. The previous book was recommended by Nimio, then we just did the same author because it was amazing. Tell me if you would like to, at least tell me if you'd like more endgame or more examples, perhaps, like some quizzes or opening or anything else. I mean, again, I can only translate shogi books. If you ask me to translate some shogi novel, I will suck at it. So let's not go that way. Yeah, and thank you for watching. I can check if anybody streams shogi right now. I know Time Zombie was doing some collab earlier, if you guys are interested, but I think they finished. Yeah, I think we're the only one live right now. Yeah, so we're gonna leave here. Thank you so much, guys, and see you on the Discord. Bye bye.